Good morning, you sexy men and women. Happy Friday. I am back from Cheltenham. I did my absolute brains in, but it was a beautiful day. Absolutely awesome. It's amazing to get invited to places like that. And anyway, yeah, it was a great day and I am back. Right, so I get asked quite a lot, how did I get into self-storage? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about it. I actually put it in my newsletter in sometime in March and got a great response. So I thought, you know what? Let's tell everybody what and how I got into self-storage in the first place. And I see loads of these posts on LinkedIn saying about me. And I thought, well, you know what? Why don't I do one of those? I haven't actually wrote it on LinkedIn, but hopefully you get to see a better, get to know me a little bit more. So how did I get into storage and how did I afford to get into storage? I put here, that's how many, I get that questions a lot. So let's dive in. 6 years ago, I had a bookmakers for 6 years. Yes, an actual bookmakers like horses, like that. So you could place bets. And it was the only thing I was ever good at was mathematics. At school, I was shocking at school. Maths is the only thing I was half decent at. And I remember sitting in my art lesson at sixth form at Longcroft and looking across the field and seeing horse racing, Beverley Racecourse. And I didn't like school, wasn't very good at school. And so I used to twag school and go across to the races. Now, at that point, I was already a better. I must have been like 12, 13. Because my granddad used to always take me in bookies. Every single Saturday, me and my granddad used to go in bookies. I know what you're thinking, but I loved it. Absolutely loved it. Mine and my granddad's day. We used to go, there was a amusement arcade next door to a bookmakers in Hull down Whitefordgate in Hull City Centre. And we used to go in there and play the arcades, play the bandits and play, just gambling, a gambler's dream. Unfortunately, obviously, that's probably not great for a kid so young. But I genuinely, honestly, the buzz, the win when you win. Anyway, so when I saw the races happening, it didn't take me much to start twagging school and going to the races. I got friendly with a bookmaker across there, and the bookmaker actually says to me, "Look, if you're gonna come anyway, you might as well learn something." So he let me all the tic-tac-toe, where it's 11 to 8, 5 to 4, 6 to 4, 7 to 4, 15 to 8, 2 to 1, fours, and all that up. And so I learned all that. I started working with him. And then every single time it was Beverley, he started writing me a note for school to say I was a dentist. I know what you're thinking. A little bit weird in this day and age. But I got off school. He pretended to my mum and dad. And I used to work for him. I think I used to get like £5 or £10 or something. And then as soon as I got my motorbike license, I then could work with him around the courses in Yorkshire. So I used to travel to Doncaster. And because I was good at maths, I used to be the person at the back where I calculated all the bets. Anyway, fast forward a few years, I had my own betting shop on a caravan site, and then that slowly progressed to a betting shop down Newbridge Road. However, I could see that the betting landscape was changing. Not as many people were betting in person in shops because you can bet on your mobile phone. But that was the start of it. And so I thought, oh, dearie, we're in trouble here. Always try to look at what potential, how can you go out of business? What can disrupt your industry? And with betting, I knew that bricks and mortar betting shops was over. So I actually put an advertisement in the Racing Post, and I knew I was going to sell a year before I sold. So I cleaned up all my offers. I made it more. I made it better for the oncoming new owners. It looked better on the books. Everything was cleaned up to make it as saleable as possible. Anyway, Coles came in and they offered me £335,000, and I immediately said to him, "I've had a higher offer. I want to go with you because we own the building. I want to go with you because you're a blue chip company, a PLC, but we've had a higher offer. Is there any way you can just up the offer somewhat?" And do you know what the other offer was? It was £140,000. And so I didn't have a higher offer. Anyway, they came back and said, "Look, we can't do any more than 3, 4, 5." And so I was like, I remember the feeling. I was walking up the stairs. I was like, yes, 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 yes. And so I took the offer, 3, 4, 5. And yeah, we sold it. I owed £144,000 to my dad and to other people. And so that meant that I netted 201,000. I fast forwarded here. Previously, I've worked at McDonald's. I got 0 stars. I'd worked for my dad. My dad's business partner told me he would rather pay me to stay at home. So when you talk about somebody who It didn't look as though I was going to do anything spectacular. I mean, my dad's own business partner told me he was going to pay me to stay at home because I was that useless. I was good at, by the way, I was good at selling my dad's company, but I didn't like the fact I was a salesman. I outperformed all the sales managers, but I didn't like the fact that I'd been given a salesman's job and not really deserved it. And so I said, I want to start from the bottom. What a stupid thing to say. So I started from the bottom, and I was absolutely useless, fixing drain pipes to caravans and stuff like that. So yeah, I could sell caravans, but I couldn't do the stuff outside. And yeah, that's when he told me he was going to pay me to stay at home. I mean, pay me to stay at home. I mean, that's got to hurt my ego, my confidence, and the fact that I worked at McDonald's and got 0 stars. I mean, thank God for betting. Thank God my granddad took me to the races and took me to the betting shops. And so I understood odds. I was a punter. I was a bettor. I was a gambler since I was very, very young. So I understood what gamblers wanted, what bettors wanted, because I was one of them. And so we opened it. Yeah, like I said, we opened in a real rough area down Newbridge Road. By the way, real rough, but amazing people, amazing. Like the camaraderie. You are literally there for each other. You are friends. You are family. You are you one in, all in. It's just, if you are genuinely like, if the shared food and stuff, it was just a beautiful area. And I always believe that you get treated how you treat other people. And so we went in there, showed everybody respect. We went and on Saturday, we just didn't feed the bettors, our betting shop. We got a buffet for every single person around the area. If you wanted some food, come on in. We'll help you. If you wanted a tea, coffee, just nibbles during the daytime, come on in. Come out the cold, come in. And it was a community. It was like a community centre was a betting shop. And every other shop around the area got robbed at knife point, gunpoint. Guess what? We were the only people who didn't. And it's purely because it's how you treat people. And we had to forge a way into the community and say, look, we want to be one of you. We want to help. We want to be part of a community. And we didn't do it like trying to get something out of it. We did it because why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you want to be nice to people? And so, yeah, we did that, ran it for 7-8 years and sold in 2012 for 345,000. So I netted 201,000. That was the early part of 2012. Just one second. This is where it gets really, really fun. Then I got married in May 2012. And at that point, I had 200 grand in my bank. I was like, this is brilliant, 200 grand. Didn't know what to do, obviously, but in them days, my wages was only £2,000 a month. So I literally had nearly 10 years' wages. Not quite, but you get the picture. So I had a decent amount of money. So I didn't have to do anything straight away. I always remember one of my mum's friends saying to me, Dean, you will become depressed, sir, because all of a sudden it goes from everybody needing you, because I used to get phone calls on a night time because a bet was running up. Someone was about to win 20 grand. Someone was, we had trouble in the betting shop. So I was always, always on. And to be fair, I really enjoyed it. And yeah, I remember thinking 3 months after I sold it, well, this is rubbish. This isn't what people told me. I've got 200 grand in the bank. And by the way, 200 grand's a lot of money to me now, but 200 grand back then was even more money to me. I felt rich, but it didn't change anything. It didn't change me. It didn't give me what I thought it would do. However, it was definitely the right decision, because fast forward 3 years and Corals, I couldn't believe it. Corals had closed them. But what I couldn't believe is the fact that Corals, was actually focusing on bricks and mortar. I mean, a stupid little kid like me knew that bricks and mortar weren't the way forward, but Corals was still opening shops, still buying shops, instead of focusing on digital and the World Wide Web. They still haven't recovered. They still aren't the glorious company they used to be. And it's them little decisions, little margins, not knowing, not understanding where the future's going, that took their eye off the ball and always believed that it was always going to be bricks and mortar. It's always been bricks and mortar. Shops have always done well. Yeah, that's correct, until they don't. So we've always got to be open to change. If we aren't, then we're susceptible to change. And so just be very, very careful, whether it be manless facilities who can then, therefore, people are operating on higher margins so they can sell storage at less, whatever it may be. There's always change out there, and we've got to be careful. AI, whatever it is, but we've got to be open to it. So I went on honeymoon to America in May 2012. I got married So when we went on honeymoon, and the typical Dean thing happened. So we was traveling a bit around America, and I had to take my driving license because obviously we was driving, and we got to the front of a queue to get our car, and all of a sudden I'm like, "Where's my driving license, Claire? Where's my driving license?" She goes, "I didn't booked it. I ain't packed it. Where is it?" I'm like, "Oh no, I forgot it." So I forgot my driving license, which then meant my wife had to drive. And I had an iPad at the time, and I remember just sitting there playing Tiger Woods Golf. Whee! And she was driving on this massive freeway in this massive truck, 4 hours. I was loving it. And every time I popped up, I could see self-storage, self-storage, self-storage. It's like, what the friggin' is self-storage? Anyway, another hour went. I kept seeing these self-storages again. It was like literally down every street, there was a self-storage. So I Googled self-storage, Beverly. And there was none. Well, there was one, a farm that did self-storage. I rang the farm up and they were full. And I was like, oh my God, this has legs. So I started looking at different places to open in Beverly. That is it. I had no idea about the square foot per capita, what it should be. I had no idea about competition. I had no idea about anything. I copied a company called Hull Self Storage. They seem to have nice units. And so I got my dad's friend to make me some of these units, which we made them better. They got them direct from China. We made them a lot nicer. We put insulation in the wall. We didn't know. We just presumed that's what you do. I didn't know about containers. I had no idea. And then so we did electric roller shutters. And in December we opened, and we was just about full. It costs £360,000 to open the site. I had 200 grand, and I think my dad put in the rest. I think so. I don't think anybody else put any money. I think it must have been my dad. And we didn't know about asset finance at all. We just opened. And that is how I got the money for self-storage. And yeah, now I do things, oh my God, do things way, way, way differently. You don't need that much money to start. You don't need to pay for your containers up front. You can use asset finance, you can lease them, you can rent them, you can do loads of different things. But I didn't know any of that back then. And we paid for them. I had no idea about pricing. So what did I do? Hull, not a very affluent area at all, not a great location at all. Beverly, very affluent area, and a very affluent area and a very, very good position. What I did was I went £1 a week cheaper than them. And that was it. Uneducated. This is why we shouldn't be scared of educated competition, because they wouldn't do stupid things like that. We should be scared of uneducated competition. Someone like me coming to the market and thinking, well, I'm going to spend loads of money on containers on these units, and then I'm going to discount the price, even though they're better, even a better location, even though everything's better, I'm going to be cheaper. I'm like, why? What are you doing? You absolutely know your market. And so, yeah, that was all from my working days. And I also got kicked out of college as well. Didn't know what to do. So I went to college and did a sports and adventure management. I must have been about 20 at this point. I was working part-time at a bookmaker's, maybe a bit younger. And yeah, I got kicked out for plagiarism. And the worst thing is I was plagiarizing, I was copying a mate of mine, but they never asked who copied who. They just presumed I copied them. And so I got kicked out. I mean, they was right, but they should have at least asked. And they didn't ask. They just told me I'm no longer welcome. I can't come back and retake the year or anything. But at that point, I didn't dare tell mum and dad what I was doing, because that I'd been kicked out, because they would have killed me. So the next year, I pretended still to go to college, take my rucksack, and I went to David Lloyd Gym and went to gym, sat had a cup of coffee, and read the Racing Post. That is what I did. That was my life for a year. I got in great shape, but yeah, I was lying to mum and dad. So what else have I got here? So, yep. So basically, that's how I originally started in self-storage. I wanted to tell everybody, but basically, I was a failure. Did all right with bookies and doing all right with self-storage. So if you've got any kids out there, I just want to remember that I was a late bloomer, a really, really late bloomer. I was idiotic. I was good at one thing, gambling and betting. And by the way, after I sold my betting shop, I professional gambled for a bit. I was really, really good at gambling. Got banned out of every single bookmakers. We can't place a bet. My family can't place a bet. I can't place a bet. Mum, dad, sisters, we're all banned from betting. We just can't. We're not allowed to gamble anymore, because as soon as you get triggered, as soon as you called, I used to call them napsters. Basically, someone who knew the price was wrong. You only bet when the odds are in your favor. Blah 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 blah. And yeah, we used to we just got flagged straight away. And as soon as they see you as a winner on the system, they don't want to know you. They ban you. So professional gambling, yes, it can be done, but it's bloody hard work. You've got to watch recordings 9 hours a day, watch every race. The going, the course, which way around they're going. Are they going left-handed, right-handed? Jump. How was their jumping? Has it improved? Are they wearing blinkers? What's the difference of the handicap mark? Up, down. Who they're against? It is the jockey form, the trainer form. It is so hard work. Yes, you can make money out of it, but you can't chase your losses. You've got to be sensible. You've got to be structured in your approach. But that was too much for me. Did all right about it for a few months. Made not much, but enough to get by. I'm just guessing. I remember a couple of bets where we've won 50 grand, 30 grand. So yeah, it was good, but then you get banned straight away. So it wasn't. And now, by the way, I went to Cheltenham Cheltenham dinner yesterday, a couple of days ago. I lost a fortune. I have no idea about horse racing anymore. No idea. I just don't know the horse anymore. But when I sell the bookies, that's what I want to do. Get back into horse racing. I really, really enjoy it. But yeah, the only place we can bet now is Betfair. Betfair is person to person. It's an exchange. Anyway, long story short. Long story. So, yep. Yeah, that's my story. So, had a betting shop, sold a betting shop, opened the storage, and hopefully it's going well. And yeah, hopefully my kids will not be late bloomers like I was. Oh, Jesus. My mum and dad must have been going spare. No stars at McDonald's. My dad's business partner told me he'd pay me to stay at home. Kicked out of college. Not even university, college. So, this podcast is not giving me much self-belief and self-confidence. I'm like, oh my God, Jesus. And with self-storage, if I can make it in self-storage, you guys can make it in self-storage. I feel like I've got very lucky. The betting shop worked because it was a betting shop. I knew everything there was to know about gambling and betting and people and the psychology behind gambling. Storage, it worked because I don't think anybody struggles in storage. So everybody does well in storage. And then I ventured outside storage. Oh yeah, I forgot that I opened a restaurant and that tanked as well. So yes. And that by the way, that was a change in my life because I thought that I was a winner at business, and Beverly 24 was successful. I had the betting shop that was successful, and I was thinking, well, this business like is easy, and I got my ass handed to me on a plate and lost like 200 grand in the restaurant. But that's when my life changed, because that's when I knew that I wasn't good on my own. I knew I needed mentors, and that is when I changed, and that's when I definitely think would have been all right at self-storage. But yeah, it changed massively when learning and education. I always thought learning and education wasn't for me. It was something other people did. It was just in the wrong context. It was at college. It was at school. I didn't see the point because there was no end to it. I couldn't see the results behind it. Now, mentorship, learning, education, courses, that's all I ever do is learn, educate myself, because I can see an end to it. I can see a point to it. I can see a reason why I'm doing it. Just this morning, I've been educating myself on being the expert and taking a course about that. But I love it. It's brilliant. So that really, really changed my life. So yeah, please don't think that everybody you see who you perceive as successful, because success is many, many different forms of success. Please don't believe or think that it's just whoop, easy for everybody, because some you win, some you lose, you go up, you go down. But as long as your trajectory is going forwards, as long as you're educating yourself, then and self-aware as well, understand what you're good at. Don't know that we're not good at everything, and surround yourself by people who are better than you at other things. And so, like I said, if I can do it in self-storage, you lot can do it in self-storage. And by the way, I'm not saying I am immensely different. I'm a massively different person to who I was 10 years ago, to who I was 5 years ago, to even though I was 2 years ago, a year ago. I am improving all the time. My trajectory of a person I am becoming is definitely improving all the time. I feel like I'm investing in myself in a whole host of things. I want to be a better husband, so I'm investing in that. I want to be a better dad, so I'm investing in that. Yes, it's not just work. Success just isn't just work. It's a whole host of different things rolled into one. There's no point in being successful and having loads of money and having a shit rest of your life, is it? It's pointless. It's a hollow victory, my friends. Right, that is it. I'm not glad I've done this podcast. I feel, oh, fucking hell, people can think I'm an idiot. Anyway, self-deprivation, it wins. Right. I love you. I appreciate you. Have a great weekend. And I'm just going to, yeah, what time is it? 8:15. I'm going to go have a vodka. I'm not bad at web. Right. See you later. Bye.